These are the questions that people are asking.
What are your plans for Unicorn Island
You can
Productions?
ask the first one too. I see it. I saw you.
Oh, you saw me?
I saw you skip it out of respect. That's very sweet of you.
It says, "What's your female type?"
Yeah, we love that question. I've never talked about this actually. So those of you that are listening, I came out at the very tender age of 30. That was a lot of fun.
Especially, I think coming out is probably a tough decision for anybody to make. But I would imagine seeing how tight knit your family is, and also you have a kind of in your culture. I think that. Well, you're a disruptor of your whole culture.
Yes.
I think women in your culture are not as...
I often think to myself, why don't you just pick a struggle girl? Like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Because I really am out here just being like, I need all the therapy. But yes, no, for sure. It was hard to come out at 30, hard to come out as a brown person, hard to come out as someone in the public eye. The day after I came out as bi, it was the #1 trend on Twitter. So I opened my phone and Twitter, it was right there in my face, and I wanted to throw up. I think I did throw up, actually, to be completely honest, because I felt so just strange about that. But I now...
What made you come out? Like, what was that defining moment where you go, I'm going to share that now?
Yeah, I think...
Because you don't have to.
No, you're absolutely right. But I had a fear of, because like I said, I share so much of myself online. I really didn't want this to come out through a different way. I wanted me to be the one that said it, and I wanted it to come out in a celebratory way. Because I really do feel like there's a lot of stories of people coming out that are very sad, and they're very valid and emotional and needed, but I didn't want mine to be that. I wanted to control the narrative and say, hey, I'm proud of this. I want to celebrate this, especially because I come from a culture where there is so much pain involved in that process. I wanted to show a different way of doing it. The reason I decided to come out at that age is honestly because I came to terms with it to myself at that age, very, very late. Growing up in Toronto, in high school, I didn't know a single queer person. No one in my high school was queer or identified as queer. When I went to university, I knew one queer person in all of York University.
I'm sure there was more.
Well, that was out that I knew of, and they were nothing like me. So it really wasn't until I was a full-fledged adult that I was even introduced to the concept of queerness or queer people. And so that helped me learn about myself. And I literally admitted it to myself like months before I tweeted about it. So it wasn't like a years and years of me.
Okay, so you come to the realization, did you share with your parents before you tweeted?
So like a type A personality person, the moment I said it to myself and my dog, I gave myself 30 days to tell every single person I needed to tell in my life. I made a to-do list, and I told every person, 30 people.
You sound like my daughter.
I was like, okay, 4 p.m. on Friday, I'm going to have this conversation. That was me. So yes, my parents did know.
Who did you tell first, mom or dad?
I told my dog, and then I told, I literally did.
Did you swear your dog to secrecy?
I did. I was like, you tell anyone, I swear to God, go straight to the kennel. But I told my closest friends from Toronto first, and then slowly I told people here and there. It wasn't a long list. It was like 10 people. My parents were the last on that list, and I was quite nervous about that. And
were they both on the phone? What was it in person?
No, I did it in person.
Were they both in the room?
I wrote a letter and I dropped it in front of them and I went upstairs and cried. That's honestly what happened.
And then tell me what happened.
What seemed like an eternity passed by and they came up, and honestly, they did the best they could have done at that moment. My mom hugged me. She said, it doesn't matter to me.
What did the letter say?
The letter, oh my God, I don't even remember. But I'll tell you the funny thing about the letter is I was at my parents' house, and the only printer in the whole house is my dad's printer. So I had to put the letter on his computer, save it on his hard drive, use his printer to print it, then wipe his hard drive.
What font does one use?
Times New Roman. You keep it basic. Okay. You keep it basic, something they understand. There was already so many new concepts in this letter, how we don't need the font to be another one. But yeah, you know, they did the best they could have done, and I think we both needed some time to kind of adjust to this new normal.
Did they accept it right away?
Accept is not the right word. They did accept it because I'm their daughter, and they made it abundantly clear that they love me no matter what.
That's just wonderful.
Did they understand this concept? Honestly, not completely. And
did you understand the concept?
That's what I'm saying. And I think in that moment, if I'm being really honest, and I actually write about this in my book, I write about this very honestly, I think one of the obstacles of that time and why I had so much turmoil after is I instantly expected perfection from everyone I told. I think I was so vulnerable that I wanted my parents to say every textbook right thing. I wanted them to understand right away, and that was never going to happen. These are people that grew up in a different time, a different place, have never heard of
What's
these
interesting
terms.
is that was your expectation, having been a major in psychology.
Yes.
You would understand that we are
Right.
foibles.
So my logic says that, but at that time I was just so scared and nervous and vulnerable, and maybe I deep down subconsciously wanted a distance a little bit so I could figure myself out. So I created this little bit of like, oh, you didn't say this right thing, and they were like, we love you. It doesn't matter. And so now I can say, you've met my parents. They came to Canada's Got
They're a
Talent.
beautiful family.
Where we are now is such a beautiful place of them learning, me learning, us meeting in a common ground, and me really learning that people being from two opposite sides of a subject, you can meet in the middle. I know in today's day and age, we feel that's impossible. Always like, you're this, I'm this, you're red, I'm blue, I'm this. But I really do feel like through education, compassion, and learning, you can meet in the middle. And that has been the story of my life with coming out. And so now I'm in a place that's so beautiful with my parents, and I have such a great relationship with them. I love it. It's so fun. Yeah.
We do a lot of podcasts.
That's very fun.